Rivers.
United States arrests President Maduro's wife in a raid on Venezuela.
Now, the details. The National Association of Resident Doctors, NARD, today announced plans to resume indefinite strike on January 12, following resolutions reached at its emergency National Executive Council meeting on Friday. NARD disclosed the update in a statement shared on X and signed by its president, Dr. Mohammed Suleiman. Last week, the doctors warned that the country may soon face another nationwide shutdown of medical services following the federal government's failure to honor a memorandum of understanding previously signed with the association. The association had suspended its indefinite strike on November 29 last year after 29 days of industrial action following the signing of the MOU with the government. The NARD's demands include the reinstatement of 5 resident doctors at the Federal Teaching Hospital, Lokoja, payment of promotion and salary arrears, the full implementation of the professional allowance table with arrears captured in the 2026 budgets, reintroduction and implementation of the specialist allowance, among others.
Gunmen attacked the village in Plateau State's Guahanpan local government area, killing 7 people and injuring several others on Friday night. Eyewitnesses told correspondents today in Jos that the incident occurred in Bong Village, Dalmak District, where the assailants launched a house-to-house attack targeting women, children and the elderly. Residents described the attacks as heavily harmed, while survivors reported that the victims were mostly those who could not escape in time. A native of the local government council, Mr. Lawrence Dogari, confirmed that the attack and the killing of over 7 persons, adding that some people are still missing. The executive chairman of Guahampan Local Government Council, Christopher Audu Manship, has in the meantime condemned the attack on innocent persons with an assurance of collaboration with the security agencies to ensure the arrest of the culprits. The Friday night attack is the latest in a series of killings carried out by gunmen in Plateau villages in recent times.
Meanwhile, troops of Joint Task Force Northeast Operation Hadin Kai have made a breakthrough in their counter-terrorism operations with the identification of Sharif Umar as the principal coordinator of recent suicide bombings within the region. The troops have also uncovered a significant cache of high-caliber ammunition in the Bulumkutu Railway General Area of Maiduguri Metropolis. These were disclosed by the Media Information Officer, Joint Task Force Northeast Operation Hadin Kai, Lieutenant Colonel Sani Uba, in a statement issued today in Maiduguri. The statement explained that the identification of Sharif Umar as the principal coordinator of suicide bombings followed intelligence-led cordon and search operations conducted at the Kaumari area of Maiduguri on 31st December 2025. The statement added that 14 suspects linked to suicide bombings were arrested, while subsequent detailed identification and investigative processes established the structure, roles and operational linkages of the terror cell.
The federal government has been taxed on priority attention to insecurity, unemployment and poverty as critical steps towards delivering on its renewed hope agenda. This formed the consensus of opinion expressed by respondents who spoke with the BCS reporter Adebayo Abdurrafi on what should be the major priorities of government in 2026. Here is Adebayo's report.
The dawn of a new year often presents an opportunity for individuals to set fresh goals and make resolutions aimed at improving their standard of living. In the same vein, analysts believe that government must also seize the moment to make deliberate and informed policy decisions that will positively impact the lives of the citizenry. It was against this backdrop that BCS News sampled the opinions of Nigerians on areas they believe the federal government should accord priority attention in the year 2026. In separate interviews, a former NADECO stalwart, Dr. Oluyole Fashakin, and an economic analyst, Dr. Francis Obisheson, called on the federal government to intensify efforts at assuring the safety and security of lives and property across the country.
The U.S. government has collaborated with the federal government to make sure we get rid of this banditries and kidnapping in the country. If we can get rid of that, people will have free movement to go to their farm. We have free movement to go out anytime. Security should be the priority, number one priority of the federal government. Once there is security on the land and people are free to go out anytime for their own daily bread, I think it will go a long way to make people work hard to elevate poverty.
There's a concomitant effect of security and farming because of the fact that the farmer may be disturbed on their farm. If there is security, I believe that there might be a little bit, it will translate positively on the food production in the country. Some people want to go to the farm, but the fear of those people that will disturb them, who kill them, you know, is the beginning of wisdom there. Let the government help us as they are trying to grow the economy. Let them grow the pulse of people too.
They also identified unemployment and poverty as major challenges requiring urgent intervention, stressing that meaningful economic policies must translate into job creation and improved livelihoods for Nigerians.
And if you listen to the president's speech, I was so impressed with his speech, but I don't know how he wants to implement it. He said he was going to empower 1,000 people from each ward of the local government. I think it's a very laudable program. But I hope, because the problem already is that policies are very good on papers. Implementation is the problem.
If the official rate says that 30% is the unemployment rate, I want to put it to the government that the real unemployment rate is more than 30%, because we have a lot of people that say they are in employment, that they are underemployed. Then what is the proportion of that one? In about economy of about 250-something million people, only about 10 million are engaged. What are we talking about? We have seen countries where although tax rate may be a little high, I'm not saying that Nigeria will make it to be unaffordably too high. We have seen countries that the tax rate may be high, but there is value for money. There's value for money. Let the government try to, as the government is going on another round of tax reform now, let there be accountability, so that when there's accountability, the thing will translate more on the economy, and I believe more onto the pocket of individual person.
The duo further urged the government to ensure that the modest economic gains being recorded are allowed to permeate all levels of society, so that the impact is felt in the daily living conditions of the masses.
I'm not looking inward to ask questions from the state government. How have they been spending our money? In the past, you get 5 billion, 10 billion, but now you are getting 15 billion every month. How do you spend it? It should be a question to be asked. And you should understand that the naira has been stabilized. It has been stabilized. The economy has been stabilized. What we are praying for now is for it to be improved. Well, the problem again is that with all this reduction in price of petroleum, it's not taking effect on the people. Computers have not reduced their prices. They are still charging the same price they are charging before, when the price was 1,000 naira per liter. So we should also impress our way. It shouldn't be our own problem.
My suggestion for the government in this particular year is that let the government make it possible for the people to feel the impact of the improved economy. I will expect the government to ensure that the policy the policy of the government that is bringing the improvement in this economy will translate in improving the living standard of the people. You see, when we are talking of standard of living, most people believe that it must be food. And whether we like it or not, the food inflation is still very high in Nigeria.
They also advocated the expansion of existing social safety net programs to cater for more vulnerable and non-working populations, particularly senior citizens. Adebayo Abdurafi, BCOS News.
As the countdown to the 2027 general elections continue, Citizens and the nation's political stakeholders have called for adequate preparation that will guarantee credible elections. The call is coming as key players and participants in the political process are busy setting agenda that would shape the country's future and political landscape. BCOS reporter Oluyole Shola in this special report digs further into 2026 agenda setting by the political class ahead of general elections in 2027.
As Nigeria gears up for the 2027 general elections, 2026 is shaping up to be a pivotal year for political stakeholders. With the selection of candidates by various political parties and our campaign kicking off this year, the country is bracing for a lively political season. Dr. Gbenga Bamidele, our communication scholar and political commentator, emphasizes the need for full implementation of the Electoral Act, particularly in prosecuting electoral offenders. Dr. Bamidele said there is no room for half measures in dealing with electoral offenders.
We are talking of good governance. Good governance is difficult to define. But rather, if you know bad governance, you will know that good governance is better than bad governance. Bad governance is where you have all sorts of things, all sorts of inadequacies, corruption, abuse of human rights, banditry, and all what we are saying today. So we are saying we have good governance. No. My prayer and the agenda for the new year is for us to deviate from where we are now and progress. There are challenges, enormous challenges. There are tasks ahead. But my impression, my conviction is that the government of the day is capable and competent of handling those tasks and surmounting the challenges ahead.
Echoing the statement, Honorable Oluyole, a political stakeholder, calls on the Independent Electoral Commission to intensify its campaign against electoral violence. He urged the Commission to ensure a peaceful and fair electoral process.
INEC is a body that every political party needs to rely on, for which we believe that this time around INEC will come out to do what is necessary. That, most of the time people always look at it, there is a saying that that the citizen, that they normally say that they know what they want to pick. That is, if you go outside to vote, that is like wasting your time. But the moment INEC is able to prove it to them that, okay, this time around your vote counts, whatever the decision of the citizen, that is what they will abide with.
As the political landscape gets more heated, stakeholders are setting their sights on shaping the agenda for the Nigeria's governance and policies. Key areas likely to dominate the agenda included economic recovery, security, and youth engagement. Stakeholders are urging politicians to prioritize these issues and present actionable plans to address Nigeria's pressing challenges. Oluyole Shola, BCOS News.
Meanwhile, armed youths believed to be political thugs on Friday night invaded a hotel in the Orazi axis of Obio-Akpor local government area of River State and disrupted the live transmission by Arise Television. The thugs who forced the live interview to end halfway carted away a camera and other equipment belonging to the TV station. It was gathered that Arise TV crew was conducting a live interview with former River State Commissioner for Employment, Generation and Empowerment, Dr. Lelonu Umububasa, when the assailants stormed the hotel premises. He was speaking on political situation in River State and was dwelling on issues not in good stead with the Minister of the FCT, Uzon Wike, when a man who was at the hotel lounge called on the assailants. It was further learnt that both the former commissioner and the Arise TV cameraman narrowly escaped the well-armed thugs, whose cause was that the interview
has commenced its implementation despite the anti-implementation voices from different quarters. In fact, several pressure groups have been uniting towards ensuring that the federal government reverses the implementation with the claim that it will further impoverish the people. However, a professional tax expert, Mr. Eric Joshua, has said that the fears being expressed by the people are unfounded, noting that the new tax law is rather a blessing to the low-income earners and small businesses than an affliction. According to Mr. Joshua, about 90% of salary earners will either have their tax reduced or fully freed from taxation.
An employee who is collecting around 85,000, 84,000 naira, they will not pay any tax. That is the effect of this new tax law. And someone collecting 100,000 or less, if they are doing like a life assurance policy, health insurance policy, they will pay less amount of tax. If the federal government stop this tax from not operating, it's to the detriment of the low masses, the low income earner, the salary earners, the civil servant. Is to their own detriment, which will affect their money, the money at hand. It will affect it.
He further explained that business owners who trade in agricultural produce, alternative energy products, and educational materials, among others, will also have more to benefit than lose under the new tax law.
There are some businesses that have no VAT at all. If you are into sales of food stuff in the public market, the law says such food stuff must not be taxed. Like people selling rice, raw beans, raw gari, whatsoever. The law says they should not pay VAT on it. They should not charge VAT. Neither are they paying. What the law expected them to do is to disclose what they sell per month, so that it will enable the government to know what they are selling for the whole year and to know if they will be paying tax on their profit or not. So if I'm a limited company and I'm selling like agricultural produce like cocoa, cassava, maize, whatsoever, the law says I should not charge that. The essence is that so that there will not be increase in food stuff in the market, so that there will not be inflation. If I'm into school educational activities, the law prohibits me from charging VAT from school fees or lesson fees or educational materials. The essence of it is so that there will not be inflation on school fees or school activities. If I'm into like I'm selling like solar panel, inverter, the law exempted any alternative energy from charging VAT or from payment of VAT.
Speaking on tax deductions on bank transfers, Mr. Joshua stated that under the new tax law, only the sender will be paying the electronic money transfer charges, unlike under the abrogated law, where both the senders and receivers suffer the deduction.
The new tax law has brought nice. Before, if I'm transferring like from 10,000 above to another person, there's what we call stamp duty or electronic charges, electronic transfer charges, which is 50 naira of what I'm transferring per transaction. And they will debit me that the sender, and they will also debit the receiver of that money. But now, the new tax law has removed such ambiguity. It's only the sender that will pay that EMTL, which we know as electronic money transfer, and they have turned it to stamp duty on any transfer from 10,000 naira and above. It's only the sender that will pay that 50 naira, not the receiver. Banks have started publicizing it.
Mr. Joshua, who blamed poor communication with the people for the various misconceptions about the new tax law, called on the government to properly utilize the National Orientation Agency and the Ministry of Information to engage with the public at the grassroots.
And what they're signing to have is for the benefit of the masses. And what I see online is that the rich people, the wealthy people that ought to pay tax, some of them are the one propagating false information through some content creators online. If you go to online, you will see people that have zero knowledge of tax, talking about tax. So I just believe what the government can do is Nigerian Orientation Agency has more work to do. Because I know that during the military regime, we usually see their 504 boss with the megaphone, go to market. They need to do something. They need to start something now.
While the government maintains the tax reforms are necessary for revenue growth and economic modernization, public concerns bordering on legal integrity and discrepancies in the legislation, poor communication and public understanding, as well as business cost and investment implications, among others, should be efficiently dealt with for proper acceptability and cooperation. Adebayo Abdurafi, BCOS News.
Let's now go over to our sports studio for the latest news updates from the exciting world of sports with Buluwaji Ogunmola.
Good evening and welcome to the sports segment. I am Buluwaji Ogunmola. Super Eagles head coach Eric Shell has reacted to his selection as coach of the group phase of the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations. CAF on Friday unveiled the AFCON 2025 group stage best 11. Only one Super Eagles player, Ademola Lookman, made the selection. Shell was named coach of the group phase after guiding his side to wins against Tanzania, Tunisia and Uganda. The Super Eagles and the Desert Foxes of Algeria are the only teams with 100% record from the group stage. They have also scored the highest number of goals, 8, in the competition. Eric Shell said the recognition will motivate him and his players. Meanwhile, the Super Eagles intensify preparations for their round of 16 clash against Mozambique on Friday. Super Eagles continued preparations on Friday evening with 25 players taking part in training as the team intensified preparations for their game against Mozambique. Ryan Alebioshi was present at the session but did not train with the rest of the squad as he continues his recovery from a leg injury. Meanwhile, Cyril Dessers has been ruled out of the team due to a thigh injury and has since returned to his club for further assessment and treatment. Midfielder Tochukwu Nandi also missed the training session after coming down with a cold. Head coach Eric Shell addressed the players during training, urging the players to put their group stage achievements behind them and shift full attention towards challenges ahead. Away from the Africa Cup of Nations, Morocco is set to host the 2029 FIFA Club World Cup, further underlining the country's rising stature in global football. The North African nation has continued to earn international recognition for its strong football infrastructure, organizational capacity, and growing influence within world football. Hosting the FIFA Club World Cup in 2029 represents another major milestone in Morocco's ambitious sporting journey. In recent time, Morocco has successfully staged several high-profile football tournaments, including CAF competitions and FIFA events. Finally, the Ogun State Police Command has arraigned the driver of the Lexus SUV involved in the fatal accident that killed 2 of Anthony Joshua's close friends, but the case has been adjourned till January 20, 2026 to allow for further proceedings. The driver, identified as Adeniyi Mobolaji Kayode, 46, was on Friday charged before a Shagamu Magistrate Court, according to the police public relations officer in the state, DSP Oluyole Babasheyi. In a statement issued in Abeokuta on Friday, Babasheyi disclosed that the case had been adjourned till January 20, 2026 to allow for further proceedings. The accident claimed the lives of Kelvin Lateef Ayodele, a British-Nigerian citizen, and Sina Gani, 36, a British citizen, both colleagues and training staff of the former world heavyweight boxing champion. And that's sports. Good evening.
On the foreign scene, United States President Donald Trump today announced that U.S. forces had captured Venezuelan leader Nicolas Maduro after launching a large-scale strike on the South American country. He said President Maduro was captured along with his wife and flown out of the country. President Trump made the revelations around 2 hours after explosions rocked Venezuela's capital, Caracas. There was no confirmation from Venezuela's government on the fate of Mr. Maduro, who had been in power since 2013. The Trump administration has accused President Maduro of heading a drug cartel, but the Venezuelan leader denied any involvement in the narcotics trade. He said Washington was seeking to overthrow him because Venezuela has the largest known oil reserves on earth.
In the meantime, Venezuela's neighbors and allies of President Nicolás Maduro today condemned the large-scale United States strike on the South American country as Spain offered to mediate for a peaceful settlement. United States President Donald Trump said earlier that the United States forces had captured Mr. Maduro and flown him and his wife out of the country. The Venezuelan government decried what it termed as extremely serious military aggression by Washington and declared a state of emergency as several leaders denounced the United States' action. Iran, which has close links with the oil-rich Venezuela, strongly condemned the United States military attack as a flagrant violation of the country's national sovereignty and territorial integrity. Colombian President Gustavo Petro called it an assault on the sovereignty of Latin America, which would lead to a humanitarian crisis. Cuba's President Miguel Diaz-Canel denounced what he called the state's terrorism against the Venezuelan people, while Russia also condemned the United States military action as an act of armed aggression.
To end this edition of Newscope, here again are the main points. The National Association of Resident Doctors, NARD, today announced plans to resume indefinite strike on January 12 following the federal government's failure to honor a memorandum of understanding previously signed with the association.
Gunmen on Friday night attacked Bong village in Dualmak district, Kwahampan local government of Plateau State, killing 7 people and injuring several others.
Armed youths believed to be political thugs on Friday night invaded a hotel in the Oriza axis of Obio Akpo local government area of River State and disrupted a live transmission by Arise Television, carting away equipment belonging to the TV station. The thugs, who forced the live interview to end halfway, were said to be unhappy over certain comments not in favor of the FCT minister Nyesom Wike.
United States President Donald Trump today announced that United States forces have captured Venezuelan leader Nicolás Maduro and his wife after launching a large-scale strike on the South American country. That's all from Newscope Desk for now. It was packaged by Tola Deriba and delivered by Adetuke Olaleye. And I am Ifeoluwa Olaoye. Thanks for listening, and do not forget to tune in for the Yoruba version at 8 p.m. Good evening.
Ẹni fẹ́ ṣàríyá o, gbogbo ẹni fẹ́ ṣàjọ̀dún, àbẹ́ni fẹ́ ṣèpàdé o, gbogbo ẹni fẹ́ ṣènáwó. BCOS Event Grand, òun yẹn máa bọ̀. BCOS Event Grand, òun ló kájọ ẹ̀ fún gbogbo ayẹyẹ. Èyí tẹ́yìn bá fẹ́ ṣe, BCOS Event Grand, òun yẹn máa bọ̀ o. Bóyá wá gbé mi débẹ̀ yóò, ilé akéde. Bóyá wá gbé mi débẹ̀ yóò, BCOS Event Grand. BCOS Event Grand, níbi tílẹ̀ ti tẹ́jú, àyè ìgbọ́kọ̀sí ń bẹ, ìyẹn pọ̀ jaburata. BCOS Event Grand, ìyẹn nílé akéde, oríta Báṣọ̀run, nílùú Ìbàdàn. BCOS Event Grand, òun yẹn máa bọ̀ o. Ohun tá à ń sọ ni pé fónírúurú ayẹyẹ tẹ́yìn bá fẹ́ ṣe, ó ti wù kó fẹjú tó. BCOS Event Grand, òun ló kájú ẹ̀, òun ló káàtó. Ṣókùú àgbàlẹ̀ yìí fẹ́ ṣe ni, tàbí ìgbéyàwó, tàbí birthday, tàbí open year crusade. Ó sì jẹ́ book launch ní tiyín ni. Ẹ máa bọ̀. Ẹ̀yin sá ti kàn sí wa ní yàrá kẹrin commercial department BCOS ilé akéde. Tàbí kẹ́ ẹ pè sórí BCOS customer care line tololong 0915-870-3300. BCOS Event Grand, ilé àríyá fáwọn tó mọ bó ṣe ń lọ.
Oluyole 98.5 FM.
Too much money in the bank. Too much money in the bank. Many people that they do malu. You want to yaku farabale go to magau. $1K long will be balloon. Ojo and gang will not sing on a saloon. Hustle is real life, don't shake cartoon. If you never get sense, you go get them soon. Say mama, they go and follow your undo. No go let the poverty suffocate your swagoo. Oh, no go let the poverty suffocate your swagoo. No go let that. Oh, see I no go get money, you know. A damn of BYA could need down any also attract and shit love. Oh, 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 let me go and my shit out. Oh, oh, let me go and my shit out.
We come back, oh.